In this week's parsha, we're starting to get into the key pieces of Avraham Avinu, really getting to learn who Avram was and what he did and what was his impact. And already in last week's parsha, the Torah tells us that Avram was walking together with Lot. Lot was his travel partner. And at a certain point, the pasuk says, "Vashem amar el Avram acharei pared Lot me'imo." When Lot actually left him, Rashi says they were fighting. You can't stay together when people are fighting, when there's no shalom. So then Hashem spoke to Avram. What does that mean? Rashi points out that until that point, Avram wasn't having nevuah. As long as Lot was around Avram, Avraham's spiritual connection to Hashem was at a smaller, lower level. Yet, Avram still stuck with him. Meaning, even though Avram knew that he wasn't experiencing that connection to Hashem, he wasn't experiencing that nevuah, he still traveled with Lot. And Rav Aaron Leib Steinman explains in his Sefer on Chumash, he says, because Avram Avinu saw that as long as he could be mashpia, as long as he could influence Lot by traveling with him, he could elevate him, he could bring him to a better place, that was his responsibility. Even though that would mean that he cannot connect to Hashem on the same level. And he points out from the Chovos HaLevavos that the greatest char that a person could have is when he goes ahead and he influences other people. He tries to elevate others and not just stick in his own closet, focusing on growth and developing. The more a person is able to be mashpia, is able to be mezakeh the rabbim, the more he's able to elevate in his ruchnius as well. And that's what Avram did, even though Lot, again, was on some level not allowing him to connect to Hashem on the highest level. He went ahead and he stuck with him to try to elevate Lot. The Chassam Sofer has a lengthy discussion about this idea in a sefer called Psuchei Chosam, in the beginning of Yoredeah, an essay. And he points out that out of all the avos, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, David, anyone that we ever find, we never find that Hashem calls anyone my loved one, except for by Avram. The pasuk says in Yeshayahu, Perek Mem Aleph pasuk Ches, V'ata Yisrael Avdi Yaakov, slaves Yaakov Asher B'charticha, Zera Avraham Ohavi. That Avram was my Ohavi, Avram was my loved one. So he asks, what was so special about Avram that Hashem called him my loved one? And he said the answer is from this week's parsha. In this week's parsha, in Perek Ches pasuk Yites, the pasuk says Ki Yadativ. Rashi says it's a lashon chiba. I love him. I love Avram. Leman. Why? Sheyitzave es banav es beiso achra v'sham b'derech Hashem. He's going ahead and he's spreading monotheism. He's spreading the awareness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Torah to his children, his grandchildren, to the people around him. Meaning, what brought the love, what coined the name Oavi, my loved one, was because Avram was spreading the Torah. And the Chassam Sofer points out that there were pretty big tzaddikim already before Avram. Avram wasn't the first tzaddik that walked on the face of the earth. For example, there was Chanoch. The pasuk says that Chanoch was so great that he never even died. He totally was able to purify his physicality, his physical body, that he just ascended up to Hashem. He was walking with Hashem, just totally floated up. He was on such a high level, he became a malach. He became an angel. So, we don't find Avram becoming an angel. So, isn't Chanoch better? So, explains the Chassam Sofer, absolutely not. Because Hashem doesn't want us to go ahead and just totally seclude ourselves from the rest of the world and not be able to influence others. And therefore, Avram Avinu, who also could have done that, Avram also could have done what Chanoch did. He's bodedus, totally thinking about himself and his growth, but as long as he wouldn't go ahead and spread it to other people, he would not be able to go ahead and hit those spiritual levels, and therefore Avram was Oavi. The Mashal Chachma says the same thing was with Noach. In the beginning of the pasuk says that Noach was an Ish Tzaddik, and later it says that he's an Ish Adamah, meaning it seems that he went down. And why? He says in the Mashal Chachma, because he wasn't mochiach his door. He didn't go ahead and elevate the rest of the people. It's something that we have to try to understand. As much as we are always focused on growing ourselves, which is very, very important. It's very hard to be mashpia on others if you're not growing ourselves. But at the same time, all of that is really so that we could influence others, that we could go ahead and elevate others, that we could reach out to others, that we could strengthen others, that we can mechazik them. That's what it's about. It's not about just me, 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 me. And the more that we can make ourselves, what they say, klal dika yidin, we can make ourselves people that are part of the klal Yisrael. We're not, it's me. And yeah, I have responsibility to Jewish people. No, I'm part of the klal. That's who I am. There's me, it's no me. My whole personal everything is really just for everyone else, to benefit others. The Alter from Navardok, an amazing, amazing person. He has a sefer called Mezaka Harabim. It's at the back of the sefer Madregas Adam. And he goes ahead over there and he explains the importance of being Mezaka the Rabbim, to go ahead and elevate and bring schus and merit to the entire Jewish people. And he speaks out. Quotes from the Gemara in Bava Metzia, the Reb Chia. The Reb Chia was willing to do dirty stuff, like trap an animal, make the parchment for a Sefer Torah, to try to go ahead and write the Sefer Torah, to try to go ahead and teach Torah and build it out. He says that's what life is about. And he says you have to be mafkir yourself. You have to make yourself like hefker, like ownerless to the rabbim, to the people. People need you? Great, go help them. Don't say, oh, but I. Help. We make ourselves public people to allow ourselves to elevate others. And the Alter Navardok himself definitely exemplified this midah in a tremendous way. Whoever reads a little bit about his story, he did go into seclusion at one point in his life, bricked up a wall in someone's house, 2 windows, one for fleishiks, one for milchiks, and just sat there for a year. And we don't know what he did inside there. But when he came out, he started 40 yeshivas. And that's what his whole life was in Russia, with the communists going and building and building and building. He just couldn't stop spreading the Torah. And that's what it's all about. We're, in a few minutes, we're going to enter into the yortzeit of the great Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Mir Yeshiva. In 1990, when he became he assumed the position of the Rosh Yeshiva, took over for his uncle, Rav Finkel, he already at that point had Parkinson's. And it was difficult for him to move. It was difficult physically for him to be able to handle things. And people were a little bit like scratching their heads. Like, there were 1,000 people in the yeshiva already at that time. How is this person who's physically sick going to be able to go ahead and take care of this yeshiva? He married people, bachrim. And he did it anyway. And as everyone knows, he built the yeshiva today. I don't know what the number is, 8,000, 9,000, started building buildings all over the place, the entire base of Israel. At one point someone said they should just take a cape, something, and just cover over the entire neighborhood of base Israel and just call the whole thing the Mir Yeshiva. So buying and building, another branch in Kiryat Sefer, just kept on going. And his illness got worse and worse and worse and kept on building and building and building. One time he was with a wealthy individual, he was trying to get a donation. So he asked him for a large sum of money, and the person said, I can't. So he said, I can't either, but I still do it. That was his ashkafa. Just do and do and do it. You work for Klal Yisrael, Kadosh Baruch Hu takes care of you. And this, the Alter was doing this in freezing cold communist Russia, when everything was against him. They were trying to get him and he just kept on building more yeshivas. Rav Nosson Tzvi had a physical difficulty. But he built and built and built like none other in our generation. We have to ask ourselves, we want to be like Avraham. We always say, yeah, I want to be like Avraham. In our Shmoneh Esrei, okay, Avraham, I want to learn from Avraham, the God that was exposed through Avraham. That's who I want to be. That's our goal. We want to be like Avraham. Who doesn't want to be like Avraham Avinu? So what does it mean to be like Avraham Avinu? It means to not be selfish, not to just be thinking about our own personal growth, but to think about how that plays a role in all of Klal Yisrael, to try to elevate everyone. Every single one of us here know, unfortunately, many people that we could be mechazik. And no one has to say, well, yeah, but I did not finish yet 5 years of yeshiva and I haven't gotten smicha yet, so I can't go ahead and teach someone. It's not true. We all have something that we could share. We all have been inspired. The fact that we're all here obligates us to go ahead and figure out how we're going to push it forward, how we're going to bring other people back, how we're going to elevate other people, inspire other people, teach other people what we know. We have to. And we have to work on trying to make ourselves klal dika people. We have to learn from these great, great giants who, despite all the difficulties, how can a person complain that he has to wake up at 7:15 in the morning? It's ludicrous. 7:15 in the morning, these people were up already for 4 hours. They were freezing cold and figuring out how they could learn and build yeshivas. How could it be that someone complains? How could it be that we're late to a shiur, that we're late to a seder, that we waste time, we have to go for another coffee? How could that be? That doesn't make sense. So if we're selfish and we're caring about ourselves, so then that explains a lot. But if we're building ourselves to be, we're mevatel ourselves, we make ourselves hefker, we make ourselves ownerless, we make ourselves klaldik people, so then there's no end to what we could go ahead and do, and there's no end to the bracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us, because that's where it comes. It comes to the people that aren't selfish, it comes to the people that are fighting His fight. So we should go into this week, go into this winter, the cold winter, the dark winter. It's already getting dark outside. And we should go ahead and light it up and allow our knowledge and our enthusiasm and our inspiration, the incredible energy that we all have over here, to spread it to others, and Be'ez Hashem, to light up everyone else's Torah and everyone else's world and bring everyone back to Yerushalayim, to see the Binyan HaMikdash, Meher V'Meinu. Amen.